It's harder to hold in a fart when you're pregnant. Yeah, there was a lot of blood. Is it safe? Kia ora whānau, and welcome to today's video. I am 30 weeks pregnant this week and I'm pretty tired, but the bump is looking very cute. Baby boy is doing great inside the womb, and yeah, I thought today would be fun to do a girl talk. It's something that I've been wanting to do for a while, but I always felt like listening to me talk would be like really boring. Today I'm going to be talking about having sex while pregnant. So if you're a family member of mine and you don't want to hear me talking about sex, then I would highly recommend that you click off. But if you are curious about whether having sex during your pregnancy is safe, what it's like having sex during your pregnancy, stuff like that, then keep watching it because I'm gonna get into it. Is it safe? Having sex during your pregnancy is completely safe as long as you yourself in your personal pregnancy hasn't been identified as like a high-risk pregnancy. So you should always talk to your doctor or your midwife or whoever is your healthcare provider about this in case you do have a high-risk pregnancy. Then there might be different rules for you, but other than that, sex during pregnancy is completely safe, and it actually has many benefits for the woman and for the baby as well. I was doing some research earlier for this video as well, and regarding anal sex, apparently it should be avoided because, you know, there's like a high risk of hemorrhoids when you are pushing and giving birth and stuff. Like for me with my first pregnancy, something went wrong in the rectum, and from time to time I get really sore down there. So personally I would avoid anal. But maybe just discuss it with your doctor, see what they say, if that's something that you're into. But vaginal sex is like completely safe if you have a normal low risk pregnancy, so go for that. And oral sex, of course, is completely safe. Just making sure that if you aren't in like one stable relationship with one sexual partner, that you are making sure that they are clean, that you are clean, that you are getting those checkups, because if you do contract an STI, that STI can spread to your baby during the birth. So when your birth is when your baby's coming out the birth canal, that can spread to the baby if it is still active. And then I think while the baby is inside of your uterus, some STIs can attack that. So just look into that. It's not something that I'm a medical professional in or something, but it is something that I know of because obviously with my first pregnancy, me and Naz weren't together, so I had that spiel from my doctor. So that is something that I do know about. So that is definitely something that you want to be aware of if you are a single mama or you're into polyamory or anything like that. There are some benefits that I know of sex during pregnancy. Amazing orgasms. When you are pregnant, you have like hormones just rushing through you, and these hormones actually make your bits downstairs and upstairs a little bit more sensitive. In my first pregnancy, my nipples were way too sensitive. That was not enjoyable for me at all to any extent of nipple play. However, in my second pregnancy, it's more of an enjoyable sensitivity. Therefore, like, you can have better orgasms with like your clitoris and stuff because they are all quite sensitive during pregnancy. If you are like me, sex is your only exercise and like walking up those stairs. To be honest, I get more into exercise postpartum than I do during my pregnancy. I feel super sore in my pelvis while walking, but I don't during sex. So for me, keeping fit is literally, that's the only way that I'm like keeping fit. So if that's the only activity that you're doing, then heck yeah, like go for it. It's good for you. The intimacy of having sex while pregnant, if it's with your partner, I'm not sure with other people of course, but is just a bond that is just so different. There are some funny things that happen during sex when you're pregnant, which I'll get into later on in the video, but just the closeness that I feel with Naz, being comfortable, like experiencing those things with him, it's pretty awesome. Like, I find it has made our relationship grow even stronger this round. And of course, orgasms release endorphins, and endorphins are great for your baby. When you are under stress or you're under a lot of overwhelming emotions, those hormones and those emotions do actually affect your pregnancy and affect your baby and affect your health. So having sex more often, if you can, is actually great and beneficial. But if you can't have sex, that's okay too. If you don't feel like having sex, that is so normal as well. Pretty much everything is normal. A low libido is normal and a high libido is normal. For me personally, I have a very high libido in my first part of my pregnancy, and then it kind of gets a bit more normal in the third trimester for me, but it's never really low. I'm super tired and like sore, but like I'm still horny. Like for me, the hormones that come with pregnancy kind of act like I'm trying to make a baby when I already have made a baby, and that's super normal. And if you aren't experiencing that, that's normal too. There is no shame in whatever your body is experiencing. All right, now to get into positions. So personally, for me and my partner, our favorite position lately has been a doggy, and that's because I get to still like lay down with a pillow, usually like here in front of me, and it's just like comfortable, it feels good for both of us, and it's good for my back. Now that I'm in my 30 weeks, I have recently learned that you should avoid positions where I'm flat on the back. So like if your partner is just like straight on top of you and you're on your back, it might be best to avoid that position because your placenta and baby are getting so heavy in the last trimester that it puts a lot of pressure on I think an artery, like a main artery, which like cuts off blood and oxygen flow. So you want to avoid doing that. So in the first 2 trimesters, go on your back, girl, enjoy it. But in the third trimester, definitely start looking at different positions. So I'll get into a few. So doggy style, which is where your partner is like behind you and you are bent over. I will maybe put in some like little charts. Sideways is a good one. It was my favorite position when I was pregnant with my firstborn. And it was just very comfortable for both parties, and that way you kind of are getting like cuddled, you have that support, you're on your side, so it's not bad for your back, and I just felt like it was a lot more comfortable. If you need a pillow in any sexual position, just grab that pillow, girl. Like, you support you. Whatever is comfortable and pleasurable and consensual is good sex during pregnancy. So the pregnant woman being on top is always a good one, but obviously it's so like hard when you feel heavy. Like when you feel so heavy and maybe you don't like work out often, so your thighs are a bit sore, but it is a good one. Maybe just use like the headboard for support, or like your partner can do some thrusting from underneath. Like honestly, just googling this with your partner might be your best bet, because it's something that will bond you guys together. It's quite funny to do, but like when you're actually in the moment and stuff, it's gonna feel great for you. One thing that I wanted to mention was using toys. Now sometimes sex can be super painful for a pregnant woman and you're not really sure why or what's happened, and sometimes, you know, your doctor doesn't even know what's happened. There's no like risks of anything happening to your baby or your pregnancy, but it's just super uncomfortable and painful. But you still want to have that experience with your partner, or you still want to, you know, be pleasuring yourself because you might be having a high libido moment. So for me, I think it's totally okay to use toys, especially while you're pregnant. Like, why wouldn't you do things that focus on womanly pleasure without so much work, I guess. Making sure that you get a pregnancy safe lubricant that is safe for you. If you have any allergies, for me, I have a latex allergy, so can't have certain things down there that to do with latex. So just making sure that if your body isn't producing that lubricant, that is a-okay, and that is so normal and that is so common, and there are so many different like options for you out there to grab for yourself. I highly recommend a lot of foreplay. Although some women might experience a lot of wetness and ability to create their own lubricant, a lot of women will experience dryness. All of these things are super normal, and it just really depends on the woman. So whoever you are watching this, if you're pregnant or not, or you're preparing for the future, or you're just curious, all these things are like completely normal even when you're not pregnant. So you just kind of have to get in touch with your own body, do a little bit of research. It doesn't hurt, and I think there's so much stigma and awkwardness around the topic of sex in general, but especially sex during pregnancy, because it is an odd thing and people kind of make it weird. But I say just embrace it. I'm still sexy as hell. I might feel a little bit sexier when I'm not pregnant, but I still think I'm a cutie patootie who deserves to feel pleasure during her pregnancy, especially because I still have like 10 weeks left of my pregnancy, and yeah, not keen to just like do nothing personally. So talking about different issues that you can face, bleeding is actually an issue that I faced with my first pregnancy. So in my first pregnancy, I actually had issues with my cervix. Basically, my cervix had hemorrhoided. That's what like my nurse had told me, that basically the cervix is like a little donut. So you have like a little donut and there's a hole and it's like super tight. And this is the kind of like shape that it like creates, and there's your little hole here. So basically my cervix had come out, and this part of the cervix is really sensitive, so when it gets tapped or touched, it bleeds basically. So I experienced that bleeding during my pregnancy. I was still safe to have sex, but I did discuss this with my midwife and my doctors and my nurses. It was something that I was really open about and made sure that I was open about, because I didn't want to have anything go wrong. There was one moment after having sex in my first pregnancy where there was a lot of blood and it filled up a pad. These moments you need to get in contact with a doctor, with the hospital, with whoever that you can that is a professional, and discuss this with them. At the time there was nothing wrong with my pregnancy, which was really great. I'm glad nothing was wrong, but it was super crazy that I bled that much. It was just unfortunate, and I think that was in my second trimester. I had a lot of issues with my first pregnancy. I had some yeast infections, I had bleeding often, I also had a lot of leaking milk with my first pregnancy, so there was a lot going on. Whereas with this pregnancy, it's been super standard. I haven't bled once during it. I've had a normal amount of lubricant. It's been a great pregnancy and I'm very lucky to have that. And I think it's so nice to have like a comfortable relationship with my partner or with whoever that you're having sex with during this time, because it's just sometimes there's some awkwardness that happens, like spraying milk in their face from your titty and like weird things coming out discharge wise, and like it's harder to hold in a fart when you're pregnant because the baby's just like pushing on everything, you know. It's hard to not pee yourself, so just give yourself grace and forgiveness during this time if anything awkward does happen. As for after birth sex, this is definitely something that I can make a whole nother video on. I can't give you guys much information because I was not with my partner when I had given birth and after I had recovered. Naz and I didn't have sex until 5 months after I gave birth, and I was well recovered and it felt great. But with this pregnancy, obviously it's going to be a lot different. We are in a, you know, serious full-time relationship, living together, and this is our second baby, so that can definitely be a future video. Get in contact again with your midwife, your healthcare, because I'm not a doctor. You can't just watch this YouTube video and just take everything that I have said to you as medical advice. So yeah, that was my little girl talk. I hope that you guys enjoyed it. I hope that it was somewhat good. Thank you guys so much for watching my girl talk today. I hope that you guys enjoyed it. Let me know what you think. Give it a like and comment down below any other topics that you guys want me to touch on. And yeah, if you had any questions about sex during pregnancy, leave them down below and I'll answer them for you guys in the comments, because obviously this was my first time doing it. There wasn't like a lot of guidance, but hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Anyways, I will see you guys in the next YouTube video. Bye!